everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Speak Up with Moupriya. I am Moupriya, a communication coach and a soft skills trainer. I'm also a TEFL certified spoken English trainer and a certified life coach. And on this channel, Speak Up with Moupriya, my aim is to help all of you speak up confidently and express your thoughts, your ideas, your emotions, your feelings, anything and everything that you want to communicate. You should be able to do it confidently and fluently, no matter which language you are using to communicate. Along with communication, I also want you to become seasoned with the important soft skills that can take you to greater heights in your personal as well as professional lives. So on this channel, I try and assist you as much as possible with spoken English, communication, and soft skills tips. So if you are watching me for the first time, and so that they can also benefit from these videos. Last time when I posted the video on present tense without any rules but just by applying logic, I have got a lot of positive comments from all of you, and all of you have assured me that you have understood how to use the present tense accurately in your conversations. Today, it is time for us to travel back in time and work on our past tense. I know most of you are really scared of past tense, and you often end up mixing your past tense and feel unsure as to how to use it properly in your sentences. But don't worry, in today's video, I'm not going to explain any rules. Instead, I'm going to tell you what are the different types of past tense and how you can utilize them in your conversations according to the situation or the context that you are talking about. This will help you to frame correct sentences in the past tense without jumbling up your tenses. I would suggest grab a pen and a paper so that you can take down any important notes. And if you're already prepared, then let's get started. So when we refer to this tense called past tense, as the name suggests, it is always used for things which has already happened or things that have happened before. Now, just like any other tenses, we have four categories of past tense as well. Number one is simple past. Number two is past continuous. Number three is past perfect. And number four is past perfect continuous tense. So first of all, let us get started with the simple past tense. The simple past tense is like a story that started and which is completed. For example, think of a movie. The movie started, you watched it, and now it's finished. So for that, you can use simple past. Or let's talk about a task or a course. You started and you finished doing that task, or you completed that course. So that is called simple past tense, where an action started in the past and it is finished or completed. For example, if I say, yesterday I went to the market and I bought vegetables. So went and bought. Both my verbs in this sentence are completed actions, and therefore I have used the past tense of these verbs. Let's take another example. We celebrated Diwali in the month of November. So, Diwali was a festival that came in the month of November. I'm talking about the previous year. So, I just said we celebrated Diwali in the month of November. Now, let's talk about a finished trip. Like, she visited her grandparents last year. So, she went on the trip and she came back. So, the trip is completed or finished. That's why she visited her grandparents last year. Suppose yesterday you watched a cricket match with your family. So you can say, I watched the IPL match yesterday. You started watching it with your family and the match is over. So I watched the IPL match yesterday. Now let me talk about my graduation. I completed my graduation in 2009. So I enrolled for my graduation and I finished the course back in 2009. So I'm going to use simple past tense to state this fact that I completed my graduation in 2009. Notice how these sentences all talk about actions which started in the past and are all finished, done, and completed. So whenever you are talking about something like this, close your eyes and use the simple past tense to talk about these actions. No need to think about any other rule. However, for this, you need to know the past tense of most of the verbs. Now, how can you find them out? For some verbs, you will find regular past tenses. For some, you will find irregular, and it is easily available. However, if you want me to make a detailed video on regular and irregular past tenses, comment and let me know, and I will definitely take up that topic. Now, let's move on to the next one and look at the past continuous tense. Now, as the name suggests, continuous means an action that is in progress. So how do we apply that in the past? Let's look at that. So when you talk about the past continuous tense, it is like capturing something in the past which is still in motion or something that is still happening. So when do you really use the past continuous tense? You can use it when you want to describe an action that was going on while it got interrupted by another action, or when you want to describe the background scenario of something. Confused? Let us look at a few sentences. Let's look at the first one. I was cooking when my phone rang. So, I'm talking about two actions. One action that was in progress which got interrupted by the phone ringing. So, I was cooking when the phone rang. Or you can also talk about two actions that were happening side by side or simultaneously. For example, they were studying while their parents watched TV. So we can talk about one action in the past continuous tense and the second one in simple past. Let's look at a background scenario. I can say she was traveling by train when she saw the sunrise. So what did I do here? I wanted to describe the fact that she saw a sunrise, but when? When she was traveling by train. We can also talk about something that got extended over a long period of time in the past by using the past continuous tense. For example, he was working on this project all night. So, it is not natural for anybody to work all night. It got extended. That's why I'm saying he was working on this project all night. But now he is done. Let's look at another background description. The children were playing in the park. So, I'm talking about something that happened in the past which went on for some period of time. For situations like these, you can use the past continuous tense. I hope this is now clear to you and you can use the past continuous tense easily. Just remember two things. Whenever you are using the past continuous tense, you have to use an auxiliary verb depending on your sentence. So you have to use either was or were depending on your subject, and with your verb you have to use ing. That's the only thing that you need to remember while creating sentences in the past continuous tense. Next, let us look at the past perfect tense. Now, as we all know, perfect is when we use has or have in the present tense. However, when it comes to the past tense, we have to use had. The past perfect tense is used when you want to talk about earlier past actions, which means when you want to talk about two or more actions which has happened and finished in the past. This is like saying something has happened before something else and we are trying to understand the order of the events. So that is when we will use the past perfect tense. So precisely one action happened before another action and both actions are completed. That's when we use the past perfect tense. It might sound a little difficult, but trust me, it's not. I'm going to share a few sentences and it will be very easily clear to you. Suppose I want to talk about two actions that I have done. I have gone to the market and I have also finished my homework. So how do I frame my sentence while using the past perfect tense? I will say, I had finished my homework before I went to the market. So this shows which action was completed first and after that what I did. However, both the actions are completed and done. Let's look at another one, an earlier action that is already complete. They had already eaten dinner when the guests arrived. So, I'm talking about an earlier action. So, here I have to use had eaten, and then when the guests arrive. Now let's look at something where we can use the past perfect tense for an action that was completed before a certain point in the past. For example, she had studied before her exams. So I'm talking about her exams which are done, but I also want to say that she had studied when? Before her exams. Let's look at the last one, which will have an earlier action. For example, the train had already departed by the time we reached the station. So in all these sentences, most of the times what we understand through past perfect is first this happened and after that, that happened. So it really makes it easy for us to understand the order of the event. I hope the past perfect tense is now clear to you. Just remember to use had along with the past tense or the past participle of the verb in your sentence, and you are good to go. Now comes the past perfect continuous tense. This tense is not very commonly used in our day-to-day conversations or in spoken English. It is majorly used in written form. However, let me still give you a little idea about the past perfect continuous tense. So continuous means extended actions and perfect means actions which are completed earlier. So this tense is used to show an action that had started in the past and continued for a long period of time in the past but is now complete. So it's mostly about the duration and connection to a later past incident or moment. For example, I want to say I had been waiting for an hour for the bus when it finally arrived. So I'm talking about two incidents in the past. I was waiting and the bus had finally arrived. So when I want to show the duration of my wait, I want to show that it was a long time that I was waiting, I will use I had been waiting. So along with my had to show the perfect, I need to use been. Along with that, I need to use ing with the verb. So I had been waiting for the bus for a long time when it finally arrived. Let's look at another one. She had been studying all night before she fell asleep. So she fell asleep, that is also past, and she studied, that is also past. But she studied for a long duration before falling asleep. So I will say she had been studying all night before she fell asleep. You can also use the past perfect continuous tense to show a duration of time before a change. For example, I had been working with XYZ company before I moved to ABC company. However, as I said, we do not very commonly use the past perfect continuous tense in our spoken English, but sometimes you might need to use it. So it is a good idea for you to remember how to use the past perfect continuous tense. It is pretty simple. Had plus been, B-E-E-N, plus your verb with ing. So precisely that's it about past tense. It is no rocket science, and trust me, all of you can make great sentences in the past tense if you just be a little careful, if you pay attention while you are speaking, and if you definitely keep practicing. Because if you don't practice, if you just mug up grammar rules, it is always going to be scary and you are always going to get confused while speaking. So just pay attention to the different scenarios that I spoke about and try and make as many sentences as possible with all the four forms of the past tense, and you will see in no time you have understood the concept and you are able to frame great sentences in the past tense. So now that I am done explaining about the past tense, it is your time to do some legwork. So I want all of you to write 4 to 5 lines in the past tense describing how did you spend your weekend. I want to see how you use your tenses and how well do you explain your weekend in the past tense. I wish you all the very best for you guys to attempt this activity, and I will see you all tomorrow with another new video. In the meanwhile, if any of you want to join my WhatsApp co-learning community, or you want to connect with me for a YouTube conversation, or want to take one-on-one sessions with me, please go ahead, read the description box. I have put in all the details about how to connect with me. Do the needful and we can definitely get connected. So with that, I'm going to wrap up today's video, but we will meet tomorrow. Till then, you guys take care and good night.